LSU in 1942 and finished my freshman year in LSU in June of 1943. I had received my notice to be drafted into the Army, and so in the summer of 1943 I went to Camp Shelby in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and was inducted into the Army. The fellow who did that for me was named Fred Bush, who was the son of the Episcopal priest in Brookhaven and knew me. And so he advised me that I would be sent to Fort Benning, Georgia, for basic infantry training, a 17-week training program, at the end of which I would be transferred into the ASTP program, which was the Associated Student Training Program, training engineers. At that time, because of losses in the war that was going on in North Africa.
Which is how you became a mechanical engineer.
Yeah,
electrical.
which was the
electrical.
Electrical.
I thought you were mechanical.
Right. But at any rate, at the end of that time, after one semester at Jonesboro, Arkansas, in the ASTP program, I was transferred into the 99th Infantry Division, which was stationed at Camp Maxey, Texas. Parenthetically, ahead of that time, the 99th Infantry Division had trained at Camp Van Dorn, which was in Mississippi.
Oh.
And to backtrack a little bit further, on my Easter break from LSU, I went to a dance at the country club of Brookhaven, at which time the swing band from the 99th Infantry Division was playing. I asked them if I could sit in with them, and they said...
Because you played the clarinet.
I played the clarinet and the saxophone, and so they said certainly. I sat in with them for probably 45 minutes playing their stuff as lead sax, and thanked them, went back, finished my school, and the events that occurred following that time got me back into Camp Maxey to the 99th Infantry Division, which the band was part of then. I was assigned as the first scout in a rifle company, Company L of the 395th Infantry Regiment, which was part of the 99th Division. And I was walking down the streets of Camp Maxey, and I ran into my former roommate from LSU, who was a member of the infantry band. He invited me and urged me to go down and audition because they desperately needed a lead sax player for their swing band, which I did, and ultimately I was transferred to the band. Parenthetically, as far as this is concerned, that group of my squad of 14 men in the L Company were all killed in the Battle of the Bulge. But
So if you had not been transferred...
Pardon?
So if you had not been transferred...
Had I not been transferred, you would not be here.
None of us would be
None of us would be here. And so,
wow.
But at any rate, that's how I got to be in the band at the 99th Infantry Division, which I went overseas with and went through the war as a member of that band. And I thought it was interesting, divine providence as far as I'm concerned.
Certainly.
That I had sat in with the band at the Brookhaven Country Club, and so that I could get transferred into the band out of that infantry company.
Isn't that interesting?
And that's
and then
my background.
So when you went, where did they send you first? When you went overseas? When that horrible trip on the boat.
Oh yeah. I had a very not a happy voyage across the ocean. We went in late September and early October, and the storms in the North Sea were pretty vicious, and it was a very hectic ride on the troop ship. There were 5,000 of us on that ship.
5,000?
5,000 of us on
How
that
many
ship.
feet was the ship? Do you
It was
remember?
a very large ship.
I imagine. It must have
It was
been.
a troop ship, and I was seasick for 10 days, and I did not eat for 10 days. And
Goodness.
but finally, as a matter of fact, when I got to England, I wrote, if you can find that letter, I wrote my parents that I enjoyed knowing them, but I wasn't coming back.
When was this?
This was in the early part of 1944.
It's like
D-Day,
September.
if you'll remember, D-Day was
It's September?
June
Yeah.
the
You
6th,
said the early part.
1944.
September in the early part?
And we got
That's what he's
overseas
talking
in September and October.
D-Day.
September of
June
44?
6th.
June, that's what I said, didn't I? June the 6th, 1944.
All right, I will check that.
That was the
what's
invasion
December's-
of Italy, of Europe.
What's
Here's
December?
Halloween.
December 7th is Pearl Harbor.
So we're looking for June? June of 44?
June 6th, 1944 was D-Day.
This would be right
Yes,
at the beginning.
yes, I know. I'm terrible with history.
And
Ugh.
then it was there that
Thank
we
goodness
went into,
gracious I married Nick.
went to England.
The Swede can teach me about my own American history.
This would be like right at the...
Andrew interrupted.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just trying to figure out. It's called a conversation.
Yes.
Then, actually, after that was a very harrowing experience. So, the getting from Le Havre, which I talked about earlier, into a place called Aubel, Belgium, which is where we finally ended up at the onset of getting there. But then we moved slowly as the war went on into a little town called Buchenbach, Belgium, which was right on the German border, the Siegfried Line. And it was there when the Battle of the Bulge, we were there when the Battle of the Bulge started on a Sunday, which was December the 16th, as I remember correctly.
1940.
And then we evacuated from Buchenbach to Elsenborn, which was a former German encampment. We were there for a while, and then we moved gradually as the war developed, and I've forgotten all the other towns. And so
What is
we
it?
were in.
Did you say encampment or encampment?
It's called Elsenborn.
No, but you said
Encampment.
encampment.
In other words,
Okay.
where the Germans had trained their armies, but
Right.
had left it, see.
Right.
And so we were there. That was kind of a fort, like the Western forts.
Right.
And so then we got the message that we were there, and the band was all as a unit. But we had, by that time, before we left the United States, we had taken all of the band instruments and crated them up in wooden crates and put them on there. And so we weren't using any of that at that time.
You were a rifleman,
I
right?
was a rifleman, and actually,
Maybe that's
when
why
we
I'm
got
good at
back to
shooting rifles.
Elsenborn, we had gotten we got the word that 500 paratroopers, German paratroopers, had been dropped behind our lines, and there were 3 of us in the band that had gone through infantry basic training, and they put us in charge of the defense of the band.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh. How many
Fortunately,
people were in the
fortunately,
band?
We never had a firefight with those paratroopers. And
Yeah, fortunately.
Well, this is
my
interesting
goodness.
because...
How many people were in the band?
56.
56.
Well, this is kind of interesting because the letter I'm reading right now, it says, "Strange as it seems to most of us, we are now eating at the mess hall where the bandmen comprise the entire staff, cooking all the food, and the food is even better than served down at the old mess hall where the regular cooks were working. Our boys started their apprentice cooking about 2 months ago, and they learned all the cook's tricks, plus some. So, apparently you guys were pretty versatile."
Yeah, they could shoot and they could cook and they could play.
Yeah.
Tell us the story about when y'all came in the trucks in, I guess it was in France, when you came through the vineyards and all the guys wanted to take the wine and you didn't
Oh, yeah, well, I don't want to tell everything.
Well,
It's
tell
as bad as
everything.
Facebook.
No.
I'm not putting on this on Facebook. This is for me.
Well, actually, let me think some of the things that were kind of interesting. We crossed the Rhine at the Remagen Bridge.
That's the one that they did the big movie about, right?
Right,
The bridge at Remagen.
the Remagen Bridge. Our division was the first full division to cross the Remagen Bridge. And we were stationed, we were billeted, I guess you would call it, in a wine cellar. Not just a cellar, but it was blocks and blocks.
What,
and blocks.
what does billeted mean?
This was at Linz, Germany, Linz, Germany.
What's billeted?
It's on the Rhine River. We crossed the Rhine River on pontoons and drove across them on pontoons to get on the other side. And in this distillery is what it was.
A vineyard?
Yeah, well, there were vineyards around it, but the distillery was the bottled stuff. There
Granddaddy.
were blocks and blocks underground.
What is the vocabulary word billeted?
What is
Billeting.
billeted?
Billeted. What does that
We
mean?
were sleeping in it. We were sleeping.
Billeted means
Yeah.
like slumbered or
Yeah, billeted
bunked?
means you would stay bunked. into
Bunked,
a place.
okay.
Right, okay.
okay.
And so, when we got ready to go, move on, after 2 or 3 days,
Are
No,
you catching up with him?
No. It's just interesting. I'm beginning to think that the band is the most versatile group anywhere to be found in the Army, and the all-band marshal is just another example of that. Anyway, that's exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
So y'all were...
we loaded first of all, there was dust and stuff on the floor where it was, and so we took champagne bottles and dudded and scrubbed the floors with champagne.
Oh, my word!
Probably used 10 gallons of champagne.
That's so funny.
And got the thing kind of cleaned up a little bit and then washed off. And
That's
so forth.
just sticky, though. How would that?
Well, we took snow and melted the snow and.
Well, I guess with the
made-
fizz.
Made water and then.
I guess
flushed
with
it
the
out.
fizz of the champagne and then the snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it creates like a soap almost.
Then what we did when we left there is we borrowed what we call a 6x6 truck. It was one of the big, like a pickup truck, except it's about a 2-ton pickup truck, and completely loaded that truck with champagne. I guess there were probably,
Well, that's good. At least you didn't waste it all.
probably 200 cases of champagne.
Whoa!
200 cases?
At least.
Good grief.
The truck was a fourth as big as this room. And we had it stacked up high. And we lived high for a long time.
Oh.
Did they let the infantry people
No,
drink the
we didn't share it with anybody.
Oh, so the officers and everybody.
Oh,
did-
they had their own share.
Yeah.
You know, you pretty much take care of yourself over there.
Over there.
But that was funny.
Over there.
I always thought that was funny.
Send champagne,
And it
send
was-
champagne over there.
Just a little bit further down the line when we were in a lull. This was really right before the Battle of the Bulge started. We had taken enough of our instruments out of the cases that we could get a jazz band put together, and we went back to what they call R&R, rest and rehabilitation, or something like that. And Marlene Dietrich came to perform, and we played the show for Marlene Dietrich in the little town, and I don't remember where it was, but it was from where. It was right near the front. She was headed to the front the next day.
Wow.
That's the day that the shelling and bombing started from the Battle of the Bulge. And so that night,
But what was that like?
I think it was December the 16th. I forget, somewhere in the
That's
middle
terrifying.
of
That's the
December.
day I'm going to Sweden.
Right.
Right before the world
And
ends.
so
No, but
they
like-
canceled her trip up to the front.
They wouldn't let her
They
go.
wouldn't let her go.
But like when you say that, like when you say the shelling and all those, what was that like? Like, what did you see things fall? I'm ignorant. So, was it things falling from the sky? Was there a fear, or was it just an awareness that something was brewing?
Well, the things that happened at that point was artillery, big artillery, shelling. It fires at you and the shells come in and then explode.
Like the little shells, but when they
the big
little
shells
about that big around.
and when did they explode on impact?
Yeah.
So then it's like
Then like shrapnel.
And then that's what gets everybody.
That's what kills folks, right?
Right.
Did y'all have foxholes?
Not then.
Not there.
Not there. No, I was never in a foxhole ever.
Yeah, never.
God,
So you basically went from dealing with musical instruments and Marlene Dietrich and trying to bring some levity to the situation to extreme violence all of a sudden.
Right. Actually, we had left from this little village called Buchenbach when the thing started. Another interesting thing was that a buddy of mine was on guard that night. I wasn't out there that night. And there's snow on the ground everywhere, about 2 feet deep. And there was a soldier came running across one of the fields. Didn't have a hat, didn't have a helmet, didn't have a rifle, didn't have an overcoat. He was running across the field, and Joe Guillermo, my friend, said, "Halt." And the fellow said, "Halt, hell, there's a Tiger tank right over that hill. I'm getting out of here." And he kept running.
He didn't stop.
He didn't stop, no. He didn't shoot him either.
Oh.
But then it was immediately, we were evacuated from that point to Elsenborn. I lost my chronology there a little bit.
But tell me about when they packed up, because you were in the headquarters company and you were like the last person that had to check everything.
Yeah, that was the last person. I was on a motorcycle. I was a motorcycle runner. And they had all left, and I had checked the place where we had been to be sure everybody was gone. There was nothing left that would incriminate us and that sort of thing. And
You mean to let them know that you had been there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no information, that the enemy could have used. Mm-hmm. And so I was the last person to leave there, and they were all being moved in trucks. And so I went to following, I knew generally where we were headed, but I got down to a fork in the road, and there were no road signs anywhere.
Oh, no.
And so I debated, and I took this left fork. I was riding this motorcycle, and the woods were getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and something said, "You better turn around and find out if this is the right road." So I turned around and I had driven about 3 miles down the road.
It just didn't feel right.
Right. And when I got back to the fork in the road, there was an MP standing there that had been placed there.
What's MP?
He's a military policeman.
Okay.
And he was guiding traffic. But by the time I got back there, he had been stationed there, and I said, "Was I headed the way the headquarters company was headed?" He said, "No, you were headed straight into the German army."
Oh, my goodness.
And said, "You need to go this other way." So that's the first time I ever experienced a guardian angel that turned me around. Because their favorite trick they had for the motorcycle people was they would stretch wires across the roads
and just
at the right level.
Just
so
behead
that
you, basically.
It would cut your head off. And fortunately, I didn't see
Oh,
that.
how horrible.
And so that was one of the experiences.
But you believed you had a guardian angel.
Oh, I believe that to my dying day. I'll believe that.
Yeah.
I had it one other time when Lorene and I were in a wreck on the Natchez Trace.
When y'all were going backwards in that Buick.
Right.
Tell about that. You were coming back from that music at midnight.
Yeah, we were coming back from
Mississippi State, wasn't it?
MSCW.
Oh, yeah.
MSCW from performance up there, and it was in a terrible rainstorm, and the Natchez Trace is paved with asphalt, and it's real slippery. Shall I keep going?
Keep going, just my hands are getting tired.
Yeah. And so I was driving down, and it was just pouring down raining, and all of a sudden I began to lose control of the car. It was just slipping, skidding. I could not control it at all. Slipped off the road, just missed the ditch, slid up it and missed a tree about that far. And we got back on the highway. This was about 11:30 or 12 o'clock at night. And fortunately, there were two guys from Mississippi State were driving in two separate cars together. And I flagged them down, and they stopped. And they took us into Canton to a filling station there, and a place that had rescue groups there. And hired a guy, and he took us in the truck who was going to pull us out of the road. And he said, I told him what had happened. He said, well, you probably hit a frog, one of those big bullfrogs. And I said,
that's really, come on.
I said, that's what I
That's
said.
no bullfrog.
Right.
That's some bull something else. Is that what that is?
No, they actually thought they did hit.
Wait a minute. He said, Dad said I pull them off out of the ditch every time, every day, every
From
year.
a bullfrog?
And so when we got up there to the place, he had a big flashlight. He lent me his flashlight. We found the bullfrog.
Oh.
It was a bullfrog about as big as your head.
Oh.
We had hit it and skidded with it off of the road.
Oh. Oh, no.
You skidded backwards, didn't you?
Going backwards. We were going backwards. We had spun around and then finally
From a
hit it
frog?
off from hitting a frog. And he said,
Oh, that's
don't matter whether they believe you or not, that's what it was, and there it is. So,
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
the car was not damaged. In other words,
You drove back
I
home.
drove it
My
on
world's
home.
a bit upside down. I don't know what
He
to say
drove
about
it home. And then
frogs
after,
anymore.
I remember when the next day, they were telling us about this, and he said that they went backwards for a long ways.
I was driving about
Because
60
you
miles.
turn and you and
Well, the car just went spinning around.
Right. It hit the thing, and the rear end started coming around this way. See, and
Right.
then I was going backwards for probably
And
200 yards.
Didn't you end up like right next to a tree where you couldn't open one of the doors?
That's right. Where Lorene was sitting on that
Mama
side.
could not get out of the car on her side.
what does this say about my obsession with frogs? I feel like
Well, nothing. I mean, it has nothing to do with that. But Daddy felt like there was a guardian angel on,
Because we just missed a
Were they born
big,
yet, the
deep
kids?
drop culvert. We just missed that. And we went in between a bunch of trees and finally we
heavens
got
to
rested
Betsy.
right next to it, but didn't get a dent on the car.
Good grief.
It was pretty amazing.
I thought it was.
It was a white 63 Buick.
Buick Roadmaster.
Yeah.
You're right.
Big car.
Big car. Big car.
No, hold. All right, we'll pause for a second.
That had nothing to do with the war, but that was